Class of 2005, congratulations, you have finally made it. I'm often asked my favorite Washington story. As you might expect, in the proud 58-year tradition of Meet the Press, it's a bipartisan one involving a Democrat and a Republican. The Democrat named James Carville, his very Republican wife, Mary Madeline. They were on Meet the Press having a robust discussion one day. The light on the camera went off. The program was over. But their conversation continued in the hallway, in the parking lot, in the automobile, as it careened down Nebraska Avenue in Northwest Washington. I called them the next day. I said, "Are you two okay? Politics and television are one thing, but marriage is much more important." James said, "Mr. Russert, I can't believe to tell you what happened." I said, "Tell me about it." Mary picked up the phone and said, "I want to tell you what happened. I was so furious at my husband, I put the pedal in the metal. Police officer with a flashing light pulled me over and said, 'I want to see your license and registration, ma'am. You're going 40 and 25. She said, "Officer, I would never violate the law. I would never do a thing like that. I'm a Republican woman. I would 40 and 25 license and registration." Mary said, "Officer, I would never do it." James leaned over and said, "Officer, she's a Republican. She's lying." Mary said, "What got into you, my lawful wedded husband, to heaven, to whole, richer for poor, better for worse? How could you possibly say such?" The police officer said, "Sir, does your husband always talk to you that way on a Sunday morning?" James smiled and said, "Only when she's been drinking, officer." My other favorite involved Ross Perot, running for president in 1992. Robust discussion about the budget deficit. He said he wanted to go under the hood and find all the answers, and the interview was over. I got one on the shuttle from Washington to New York, and the flight attendant ran down the aisle and said, "That interview with Ross Perot was amazing. What do you think of Ross Perot?" I said, "Ma'am, I never comment about my guests or their performance on Meet the Press, but as a viewer, as a voter, as a flight attendant, what did you think of Ross Perot?" She said, "He strikes me as the kind of guy that would never return his tray table to the upright position." And lastly, my favorite, the philosopher king of baseball and of life, Yogi Berra. I've gotten to know Yogi quite well, my boyhood idol, and I said, "Yogi, did you really say all the things they say you said?" He said, "Well, for example," I said, "You walked into the pizzeria. The waiter came over, you ordered a mushroom pepperoni pizza, and the waiter said, 'Yogi, you want that cut in 6 or 8 slices?' Yogi said, 6, I can't eat 8. Yogi said, "Yeah." Whitey Ford was there, and Whitey said, "It's worse than you think. We were playing the Chicago White Sox one night. The first pitch, Nellie Fox, single to right field. Second pitch, Louis Aparicio, single to left field. Third pitch, I hit Minnie Minoso," Ford said. 3 pitches, bases loaded White Sox. The fourth pitch, Ted Kluszewski, big power hitter, grand slam home run. 4 pitches, 4-0 White Sox. Casey Stengel, the Yankee manager, came from the dugout. Yogi came from behind home plate and took his mask off, and Casey said, "Hey, Yogi, does Whitey have his stuff tonight?" Yogi said, "How the hell do I know? I haven't caught a ball yet." It is in that humble tradition. Before you can move on to the next phase of your lives, you must undergo the last grueling hurdle here in your career at the College of New Rochelle, the second commencement address. Let me be honest with you about my experiences with commencement addresses. I've been through several of my own, sat through dozens of others, and I can't recall a single word or phrase from those informed, inspirational, and seemingly interminable speeches. So let me skip the temptation of lecturing to you about campaign finance reform and instead take just a few minutes to have a conversation with the class of 2005. Like all of you, my life changed at 8:46 a.m. on September 11th, 2001. Just blocks from here at our World Trade Center, at the Pentagon in Washington, in the field in Pennsylvania. And yet, many of you were freshmen. We learned much about ourselves, the fragility of life, and how much we loved our country, and how much we loved each other. Last year, I wrote a book about my dad, Big Russ. He was a truck driver and a sanitation man. He worked 2 jobs for 30 years, and he never complained. And that was after he nearly died when his B-24 Liberator went down in World War II. That is the story of his generation. He never graduated from high school, but he taught me more by the quiet eloquence of his hard work, by his basic decency, by his intense loyalty. He taught me the true lessons of life. And it was those lessons who helped sustain me after September 11th. And he and my mom worked so hard to give myself and my three sisters an opportunity to live the American dream. We truly do stand on each other's shoulders. At St. Bonaventure School, it was Sister Mary Lucille who summoned me to the front of the room with one of these, saying, "Timothy, we need to find an alternative vehicle to channel your excessive energy." I knew I was in trouble, but she started a school newspaper, made me the editor. I fell in love with writing and journalism, and she changed my life. And because of my work there, I was admitted to Canisius High School, a Jesuit high school, where I encountered Father John Sturm, the prefect of discipline, who put me against the lockers for some perceived indiscretion. I said, "Father, don't you believe in mercy?" He said, "Russert, mercy's for God. I deliver justice." Accountability. It sure seems funny. The lessons that my mom and dad and teachers and coaches and mentors taught. Discipline, persistence, preparation, accountability. The older I get, the smarter my mother and father seem to get. And so too with you. The values you have been taught, the struggles you have survived, the diploma you are about to receive have prepared you to compete with anybody, anywhere. You chose the College of New Rochelle over schools in this region, in this area, in this country, because it has a mission that says it's not enough to know all the facts and read all the books, that values really do matter. In Albania, a young girl lost her father at age 8, left home for India as a teenager, in her own words, to care for the unwanted, the lepers, people with AIDS, believing works of love truly are works of peace. She became a living saint, Mother Teresa. In Poland, it was a young electrician named Lech Walesa, the son of a carpenter, who transformed a nation from communism to democracy. In South Africa, Nelson Mandela, a brave black man who worked his way through law school as a police officer. He spent 28 years in prison to prove one central point: we indeed are all created equal. And on September 11th, at the World Trade Center, it was our brother and sister police, fire and rescue workers who properly redefined modern-day heroism. All these men and women have one thing in common with you. Like the past, the future leaders of this country and this world will not be born to the blood of kings and queens, but to the blood of immigrants and pioneers. It is now your turn. You'll have the opportunity to be doctors and nurses and lawyers, bankers, accountants, social workers, soldiers, journalists, entrepreneurs, business people, teachers, and more. And in those vital professions, your contributions can be enormous. You'll save lives, provide prosperity, record history, prevent disease, train young minds, and you will succeed, and you will make a difference simply by accepting the fact that your families and your education and your values have prepared you for this challenge as well as anyone in this country. The College of New Rochelle, graduates of 2005, you were born and educated to be players in this extraordinary blessing called life. So work and live in comfort and enjoy yourself, and you've earned it, and that is the American way. But please do this world one small favor. Remember the people struggling alongside you and below you, the people who haven't had the same opportunity, the same blessings, the same College of New Rochelle education. 8 children a day shot dead in our country every day. 25% of our 8th graders never graduating from high school. If we are serious about continuing as the world's premier military, economic, and moral force in the world, we have no choice. We need all of our children contributing and prospering. And unless we instill in our young the most basic social skills and cultural and moral values, we will be a very different society. We must motivate, inspire, yes, insist our children respect one another, Yes, love thy neighbor as thyself. We must teach our children they are never, never entitled, but they are always, always loved. And we must do everything in our power to make sure our schools are meaningful, skills are learnable, and jobs are available. No matter what profession you choose, you must try, even in the smallest ways, to improve the quality of life of our children. No matter what your political philosophy, reach down. There's a child you can pull up. Some are sick, some are lonely, some are uneducated. Most have little control over their fate. Give them a hand. Give them a chance. Give them their dignity. In fact, indeed, no exercise is better for the human heart than reaching down to lift up another person. That is your charge. That is your challenge. That is your opportunity. And I know on behalf of Dr. Tyson and Dr. Orth, that's what I believe it means to be a member of the class of 2005 in the College of New Rochelle. For the good of all of us, please build a future we can be proud of. You can do it, but please get busy. You have only 2,300 weeks before you'll be eligible for Social Security. Have a great life. Take care of one another. Be careful tonight. Marry as well as I did. And for the rest of your life, work hard, laugh often, and keep your honor. Go Blue Angels.